Hello, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Porto Legits. I'm here with my Porto Upland t-shirt that I got, and just back from holidays, and just got a cold back in UK, and but that is not stopping me from doing what I had in mind to do, which is to explain to you guys, back in US, what the Porto team is, and the players you should bet on more in order to get your legit score higher. Okay, so in order to explain that, I'm going to come here. You can come here to the Porto website and go to the football club, the first team, and we can then go to the players, and I'm going to tell you which players are playing and which ones are likely to play, and which ones have a more value, which is something that Upland did. But there's one or another player that I think is not very correct. So I'm going to tell you, because they will play and they will have good scores during the match. So it's important for you to have those players in your assets, so that you can get higher scores in your players. Correct. So the goalkeepers in here that you see, Diogo Costa is the one who usually plays. I'm pretty sure he's going to play all the games in the Primeira Liga. Claudio Ramos is the second goalkeeper, and he's going to play the Portuguese Cup and Portuguese Taça da Liga, which are two cups that we have in Portugal besides the Championship, the league. And then we this year we got Samuel Portugal, which is going to be, in my view, the third goalkeeper. And then we have a young goalkeeper that came from the young teams of Porto, and he's just there learning. I believe he's more there to learn from these three goalkeepers. Maybe he's going to have one game, maybe, just to keep him happy, but I don't think he's going to play that much this year. Probably he's going to play in the second team sometimes. Diogo Costa is also the Portuguese national team goalkeeper at the moment, so you can expect very good scores from him. You should get him, and I can jump in here to the Upland to show you where he is. I had it here, and now it's just loading. So he's here straight away. You can see his shirt in here, Diogo Costa. So you should get this pack, because he's going to have some really good scores. Okay, he's a very good goalkeeper, and you should expect very good things from him. Okay, and this is where he is. He is in this pack in here. So now going forward to the defenders, we can see here Pepe. He is the most experienced player. He's for his age, and I can come here. This is another website that I recommend you to have, just for you to have an idea of the value of the players. It's called Transfer Market. .pt. It's a Portuguese website, and then you go to Porto. So I'll just copy this link and I'll put it in the video so you can just access it quickly. And you will see that Pepe is here somewhere. So he is at the bottom already. So he's not the most valuable player in Porto anymore. Why? Because he has 39 years old. He's 39. So and at the moment he's injured, and his value at the moment is around 1 million euros. So he's a Brazilian. He's a Brazilian player who was born in Brazil, but he plays for the Portuguese national team. So that's why he's not doesn't have such a big value at the moment, because he's at the end of his career. However, you should expect him to have really good performances in the league. So definitely you should have it, and he is actually in the superstar shirts. We cannot forget that he came from Real Madrid. It was his last club before coming to Porto again. He played for Porto, then he went to Real Madrid, and then he returned back a few years after. So yeah, he is 39 years old, but for sure he's going to play a lot. I believe during the Champions League, he might play more games in the Champions League rather than in the Premier League. The Champions League is not in Upland due to the licensings. So just like also the Portuguese Cup, they are not there because of the licensing. So the licensing is just for the Premier League, which is the League of Portugal. So he's going to play many games, but I'm pretty sure that if one of the other defenders will get really good, he will be saved from the Premier League, and he will play, I believe, the biggest games like Benfica, Sporting, Braga, Guimarães, those hard games. I'm pretty sure he's going to play, just because he's a very strong player. But I believe the easiest games, he might just sit in the bench and be fit in order to play the Champions League. Okay, Porto is in the Champions League, and he has been one of the best players of Porto in the Champions League. So he's usually a really good player. Okay, so it's not that he has a really good market value, but he is a very expensive player, and you will have good scores from him. From these four players, in my opinion, the one that is going to have a better result this year is going to be David Carmo. Okay, he just joined Porto this year. Porto started playing with Marcano. He's a player that is at the end of his career as well. He's actually the one who is worth less. He's already 35 years old. He's not as fit, probably, as Pepe. Pepe, his career should have ended already, but he still plays like he's 32 or 33. So he's still in very good shape. He lost a lot of weight, and he's playing really well. Even Marcano has had many injuries problems this year. He started very well. He scored 1 or 2 goals, but then in the last match or so, he was a bit slow or something happened, and then the coach decided to bet on another player a bit younger, such as David Carmo and Fabio Cardozo. Okay, these are the 2 players that are going to fight for Marcano's vacancy, okay, for the spot in the defense. So in football, in soccer, in football, you have 2 players in the central defense. One of them is going to be Pepe. For sure, he will play very important games, maybe the easiest games against smaller teams. David Carmo and Fabio Cardozo are going to be the first bet. If there's a problem, probably Marcano and Pepe might go and help. Okay, so you should definitely bet on David Carmo, Pep, and Fabio Cardozo. I don't know where Marcano is in the list, and I don't think it's very important. I would say these 3 are very important. So you've got Pepe in the superstar shirts, okay, and then David Carmo, I believe he must be probably towards the end. I'm gonna have a look. I'll find it quite easy. Actually, Marcano is here in the more expensive ones, which for me doesn't make sense because he doesn't have value that much. He's a good player though, but he doesn't have that much value, and I think, from what I can see, that probably he's not going to play many games. Looking at the options the coach had in the last couple of games. Okay, so let's just have a look here to the next one, and we will find the other 2 players. David Carmo and Fabio Cardozo is here, so it's not in the first 3 of the shirts. The jerseys is on the 4th here on the player shirts number 3. You'll find, no, actually, it's number 4. It's here, the player shirts number 4. You'll find Fabio Cardozo, which it's like the second option if Pepe plays. Okay, I think it's going to be Pepe and David Carmo. If Pepe doesn't play, then I believe it's going to be Fabio Cardozo and David Carmo. Okay, so definitely you should have Fabio Cardozo, and in here that's pretty much it. So it should be in the next one. David Carmo is here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you which one it is. David Carmo is here, which is, I believe, this one here, player shirts 1. and David Carmo is here. Okay. So let's continue to the team, and you will see that actually David Carmo is the fourth more valuable player in Porto, and he just joined this year, but he's 23. He's already very good. So in another year or two, I'm pretty sure this player will go to one of the biggest teams in Europe. Like, I'm really talking about the top ones, like Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona. One of those big clubs, Paris Saint-Germain, one of those big clubs will get these kind of players, central defenders, very tall, very young, with a lot of time still to progress and get even better. So that's what usually the biggest clubs are looking for, young players who can even get better. And the other one, Fabio Cardozo, I think the value hasn't been that much yet. He's at 3 million. He's already 28 years old. He's not a child anymore, but there's still some good value. It's a player that is already done. He's already established. I think he will succeed as well. Maybe not as much as David Carmo, because he's already 28, but he still, if he does some good games in Champions League, let's see who's going to join Pepe in the Champions League, if it's him or David Carmo. I believe it's going to be David Carmo, but let's see. But Fabio Cardozo is also a player you should have. I think he's going to have some good results. And then that's it. In the central defense, then we have the wing defense. They usually do defense, they do midfield, and they do front. So they do the whole way on the left or on the right, from defense to attack. Okay, their main thing is defense, but they usually join the attack as well. That's how the teams are playing in Europe. The wings usually join the attack. Who are the players who are playing more? Definitely Zaidu is the one who has been playing more. He's a player that he's okay. He usually doesn't make many mistakes. He's not brilliant in putting the ball in the box, but he's very quick. You can see him running like crazy. He does many miles per game. And Zaidu is a player that you should have. I believe he is going to be a good game for you to have in your list. So let me just check where he is here in the list of. He's here, okay? He's on the expressive ones. Starter shirts number 2. You'll find Zaidu Zanussi here, and he is a player that I believe it's a good bet to have him, okay? And that would be in the transfer market here. You would find Zaidu somewhere in the middle, so he's worth 10 million. At the moment, he's 25 years old. He still has some margin of progression. So he's definitely going to get better, and I believe he will be transferred to a very reasonable club. Probably one English team, maybe not the top 3 or 4 teams, but one good team will get him for sure. He's a very good player. Going back to the team here now, the other side of the wing. Zaidu usually plays on the left if you're attacking. On the right side, Manafa was last year the player who was usually playing. Vendel usually is the player who replaces Zaidu, and Rodrigo Conceição now is the player who is going to be, from what we can see last game, he can be an option. Also, the main option for the left side was and has been in the last year, 1 or 2 years, João Mario. He is a really good player. I strongly advise you to have him. He's not going to be able to play all the games because I'm pretty sure the coach is going to bet a lot on him on the Champions League, and it's an area. So these wings they run a lot, so and they can get really tired of running so many miles. So João Mario will play Champions League. He will play also in the Portuguese league, but I believe Rodrigo Conceição, which is also the son of the coach, and he, from the last game we could see, he is a really good player. I believe he is going to start playing in the Primeira League. So, what I say, you should definitely have Zaidu, and you should definitely have Rodrigo Conceição. If you cannot manage to have Vendel and Manafá, that's all right. I bet more on Vendel. From these two, I think is the one who has more chances this year to maybe in another 2 or 3 months to get much better his game. He's a Brazilian player, very skilled. I like him a lot, but he's struggling a little bit to adapt to the Portuguese football or to the European football, which is very different from the Brazilian football. So I would bet on these two players, and Jerome Mario for sure has players you should have. Rodrigo Conceição, and we can see here the stats to see where these players are. I believe Rodrigo Conceição must not be at the top because he is a very young player. But I'm pretty sure he's going to do very well this year. Rodrigo Conceição, let me just try to find him. And maybe he's not even here in the stats, is he? Yeah, probably they didn't update this with Rodrigo Conceição because he is a player that was in the youth team, okay? So he's not here yet. He will be shortly for sure. At least I cannot see him here. But I don't believe he's worth a lot in terms of transfer market, but he's going to be. So in the next year or so, he's going to play more for Porto and he's going to get there. João Mario, yes, I think the transfer market of João Mario must be already okay. João Mario is already here with 15 million, okay? So João Mario is already on the highlights, okay? He is going to be transferred very, very soon, probably at the end of the year. He probably is going to be one of the players who's going to be sold, and he's going to have really good performances. So he's one of those players that you can be sure, and he's, as you can see, he is here on the starter shirts #1. He is one of those players who you can be sure he's going to be a good one. Okay, I believe performance-wise, he is going to be one of the players who's going to have better performances in all games. He's one of those players that doesn't know how to play bad. So let me check in here in this group of players if it's worth. Yeah, it's worth to buy this pack in here because you've got Uribe, which is like it's a machine in the midfield. And you've got João Mario, who is also a machine on the right wing. Dani Damaso sometimes plays as a striker. He can do well. He's a very good player. Ivan Marcano sometimes plays, and when he plays, sometimes he scores a goal. So you've got a pack in here that has some good value for 7,200 UPX. Okay? The superstars, I don't even need to comment. You've got here two of the most valuable and best players, which are Taremi and Pepe, or Ivan Nilsson. I think it's Ivan Nilsson actually. No, it's Pepe, and the other one it's Ivan Nilsson. So it says here Francisco de Lima Barbosa, but if you turn the shirt around, it says Ivan Nilsson. That's his name, the name he's known in football. Okay, I already told Upland to maybe change the names here to the name they are known. I think they're going to look into that because it just makes it easier for players to understand who they are if you're not the kind of a soccer fan, right? So we were going in here, and now we're going to go to the next row of players. Jerome Marcelo, he's adapting to Porto. I wouldn't expect, I didn't see him play yet, so I don't think this year is going to be the year he's going to be a kind of his year of highlights. So I would leave him on the side for now. Mateus Uribe, yes, and I already told you the pack, you should get him. Marco Grewicz is a player that unfortunately I never appreciated much his qualities. I always hoped that he would be transferred, to be honest, from Porto to another club. But he's been consistent, okay? He doesn't make many mistakes. In the beginning, he did make some mistakes, but he has some quality in his passing, and he keeps the ball quite well. But it is not, again, I'm going to say it's not a player that I really appreciate, that I enjoy. He's okay. I don't see nothing special on him. it's my opinion. I played a little bit of football with friends, but for many years, and it's not the kind of player that I think it makes the difference. Okay, he's okay, as I said. So Matheus Uribe, yes. Mark Grewicz, he sometimes plays okay, but it's not really a player that I would recommend you should get. So let's see what Matheus Uribe. I think he was here straight away. Yeah, he's already here, and Grewicz is in here on this one. But anyway, you probably are going to get the Diogo Costa pack in here, because you also have Zaidu and the other player, Pepe, which is a machine. So you should definitely get this pack. But we're going to get there to Pepe in a bit. And in this row, you've got Bruno Costa, who is usually on the bench, and Ande Franco sometimes playing now. The Portuguese coach, the Porto coach, he's trying some players in some positions to see. Also, he's changing a lot depending on the opponent we have. So he is trying different players depending on the opponent. So you can expect the Porto coach to change sometimes the team from 1 week to the other. He tried last time Andre Franco. He even scored a goal. He played very little minutes. Maybe he played like 5 or 10 minutes, and he scored a goal. He was lucky to score a goal. It was a tricky ball, but he did, and he is good. He is good, but it's his first year, and it was his first match last week. So, if he's in a pack that you have an important player, yeah, get him. If not, then leave it. You never know what can happen. So, and then you have to consider the UPX you're investing. Now, Otavio, this is on the transfer market the number one in Porto. Okay, we thought he would leave already this year. He didn't leave. He's 27 years old. He is he was born in Brazil. He plays for the Portuguese national team. He's worth 30 million. I think he would be sold for much more than this, but this is, and he's injured at the moment. But this is, you can see, probably one of the most valuable players in Porto, because he's a key player. He's a key game maker. You know, he is amazing in passing, thinking the game. In Portugal, we call it the maestro, the man who organizes and rules the orchestra, and he is that in the pitch. He just makes the whole team play very well. So in here, I believe he is actually on one of not the best, not in one of the best packs, which I found it. This was the reason why, which I found it was a bit strange, that he was in this pack here of 3,600 UPX. In my view, he should be in the first three. Probably I wouldn't put Pepe in there. Okay, Pepe is very known because he played for Real Madrid, but in terms of value of players who are really the players of that can have not only better performances but also value, he is probably the number one player of Porto. Okay, so you'll find him here in this cheap pack of 3,600 UPX, together with Antonio Martinez, which is a player we're going to see as a striker who usually is in the bench and then replaces Taremi or another player. You've got also Vendel, so you definitely need to get this pack because you have Otavio in here, and you have Vendel, who usually replaces Zaidu in the wings, and you've got Galeno, who is also a really good a player who plays in the attack. Okay, so you should definitely get this pack. Okay, and then you have Stefano Statue. He has been this year in Porto. He's a natural Canadian player, actually, from Portuguese roots. His family is Portuguese, but he was born in Canada, and he plays for the Canadian national team, actually doing brilliant performances. So Porto got him. He was playing for the Portuguese team in the Portuguese Liga. Porto got him, and he is delivering. He is playing really, really well. Otavio is injured, and he's been replacing more or less the position of Octavio with some differences, but he fights a lot. He really fights a lot. He's really good in passing, and he's doing brilliant. And he also has a good shoot from out of the box. So he is a really good player. I would bet and buy his legits. So let me check where he is here. Stefano Statue. Here he is, and he's worth 5 million. He's 25 years old. He's he's Canadian, Portuguese, and he is there in that position. 25 years old, very young, and he's playing really, really well. So I would definitely get him. And Stefano Statue. Let me just have a look quickly to see where he is, in which of these packs he is. Not here, so maybe here. Not here as well. Let's see this one. No. So you see, sometimes players who were not so, the prediction was not that they would be so good, but then they really become good and important. Let me see if I can find him. He must be here in the middle of other packs. Maybe I already saw him and I didn't see his name. And it's not here too. I hope he is here, because he's a very important player. Well, he just became a very important player. I think I need to see this from the start again. Definitely not here. Definitely not here. I really hope he is here, because it's a shame if he is not. And probably he is not. I'm very surprised. And he is not. Stefano Statue is not in the legit collection. That's a bit weird, to say the least. Okay, Stefano Statue is not in the list. I'm going to give a shout out to Upland to tell them about this. I haven't seen it, to be honest. So Stefano Statue, I'll be putting that to Upland. Next comes one very interesting player, Gabriel Verón, Brazilian player. Let me just check his market value. So he is here with 20 years old, 12 million. So what's going to happen? This player is starting slowly to get in the Porto team. Okay, he's a very good player, really, really good player, but he's adapting, and he's adapting very quickly. But he's adapting to the European football. Okay, that's what happens. Players come from South America, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and they need some time to adapt to the Portuguese and European football in general. That's what happens. Usually, Portuguese teams get these players at a reasonable price. They bring them in, they give them the experience in European football, and then they sell them to the biggest clubs in the world, like Barcelona and Liverpool, whatever, for really good money, because the player is ready to play in Europe. Okay, so it's a transition. This happens with Porto, Benfica, Sporting, and other clubs like Braga. Get these players, discover them when they are young, adapt them in the European football, and then they go to the best clubs in the world. Okay, so Veron is one of those players you should definitely get, and I'm gonna try to find it here where he is, just for you to have an idea of which pack. It doesn't look like he's in a very expensive pack. Just give me a second, just to make sure I'm not going through without seeing him. And he must be, oops, he must be here. Gabriel Veron, there you go. He's on that 3000 UPX pack. So this player this year should have some good performances. Okay, you should definitely get him. And together with in his pack, you've got Fabio Cardozo. So it's a good reason to get this pack, because this player is also going to play many games. Okay, and he's going to be good, I'm pretty sure. Okay, the other two players, probably they're not going to play that much, but it's also a cheap pack, so it's worth to get this pack and get two players that are going to play a lot. Okay, moving on. Well, we've got these two players, nothing to tell about them. Mehdi Taremi and Pepe are the two players that play every single game. Taremi scores many goals, Pepe makes many assists. These two players, that there's nothing to talk about them. They are here, Mehdi Taremi and Pepe. They are at the top, in the top 5-6 players with more value in Porto. You should definitely get them with your eyes closed. Taremi, of course, is here in the first pack of 12,000, which probably is going to be a pack you're going to get because it's the best players. And then you get Pepe, which he is, if I'm not this one, he is one of those translations. Well, it's his real name, but his name doesn't have anything to do with his real name, Pepe. Okay, so he is here in the pack of 7,200, which is this pack in here, the second one, where you have Diogo Costa, which is also a player you should get, and Zaidu and Grewicz. So this pack of 7,200, you have 4 players that are going to have many games and many good performances. Okay, so this pack in here, definitely you should have it. Okay. Galeno, I already spoke about him. He's a young player. He must be here as well with some good value. Where he is, Galeno. You see, you can even see here Stefano Statue, but he's not in the Upland legits. And apparently Galeno is not here in the transfer market at the moment. Not sure why, but it apparently is not here. That's fine, but he is a young player, and I'm pretty sure his future is going to be very good because he has a lot of influence in the game. When he already scored 3 goals in the last 10 games, so you should definitely get this player, and he is here. I saw him, I think, in the first packs. Yeah, probably just on the pack after. Galeno is here on the 3,600 pack, which he is together with Otavio and Vendel. So Otavio is one of those that you really need to get. So definitely get this pack. And moving forward, Fernando Andrade is going to have little chances of playing. Ivan Nilsson is usually on the starting 11, and that's pretty much it. Then Tony Martinez, Dani Namazo are going to be replacing him and Taremi at the forwards. Ivan Nilsson, Tony Martinez, you should get these two. If you don't get these other 3, that's okay. These are the players who I think are going to play more often, and I'm just going to give you a look to see where they are. And they are they are surprising that Jerome Marcelo is in the legits and Statue isn't. I don't know why, but he isn't. Antonio Martinez is here in the pack together with Otavio and Vendel and Galeno. So this is definitely a pack you should get. And Evan Nilsson, I think Evan Nilsson is here in the... Exactly. Yeah, so he's here in this pack. So for sure you're going to get this pack. And then the other one was... yeah, so Evan Nilsson and Tony Martinez. So these are the last players that you should get, and that completes the whole team. Okay, so this is my advice for the legits that you should get, and the packs that you should get. So starting from this one, for sure you should get it. In here you've got Uribe and Joe Mario. Definitely get this second pack. Third pack, this is just a little quick recap. This one is definitely, you should have this one, and together with this one you have the goalkeeper. So these three packs are very important. Okay, and then this one in here, you have Otavio. You should definitely have Otavio and Antonio Martinez and Galeno, because they are going to play a lot and well. This pack in here, you have Fabio Cardozo, Fernando, João Marcelo, and Gabriel Verón. Okay, if you don't get this pack, I don't think you're going to lose too much. Okay, and then the other one, you've got no, this one I already saw. So now it's the one below, or was it the other one? Was it this one? Yeah, this one I told you should get. The next one you shouldn't get, or if you don't bother, don't get it. The next one is the fourth goalkeeper, not important. David Carmo, very important, and Andre Franco. I think this is, if you can pay 2,400 rupieks, you should get it, because they are going to do some good things. And let me check here. I think this is just going too quickly, and I'm not sure where I'm at. Gabriel Verón was the last one there. This one, okay, make sure that I was going in the goalkeeper, so now it's this one. Claudio Ramos is going to play not much or nothing. Manafá, probably not. Rodrigo Conceição, yes, I think he's going to play. And Samuel Portugal, I don't think he's going to play. So you only have one player here that probably is going to play. And maybe you don't bother with that. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is the whole list done for you to know the Porto players that are going to play more. I'll put these links of the Porto website and the transfer market on this video, so you can have a look. And yeah, these are usually the players who play: Diogo Costa, Pepe, David Carmo, Zaidu, João Mario, Mateus Uribe, Otavio, Stefano Statue, Meditareme, Pepe, and Evan Nilsson. Usually these are the 11 players who play all the time. And then when they get replaced by other players, usually what happens is Tony Martinez replaces Evan Nilsson, for example. Galeno can replace Meditareme. Gabriel Verón can replace one of them as well. I believe Pepe would be replaced maybe by Andre Franco, for example. Bruno Costa can do the position of Octavio, but it doesn't usually happen often. Marco Grewicz can also do that position, but it's more a defensive player. Usually he replaces Mateus Uribe, depending on the opponent, of course. João Mario is the owner of the right wing, and he will get replaced if needed by Rodrigo Conceição. Zaidu on the left side is usually replaced by Vendel, which can happen that Vendel plays a bit more now in the Primeira Liga, in the Portuguese Liga. And in the defense, Marcano probably can replace sometimes Pepe. I think the coach is now going to try these two players, David Carmo and Fabio Cardozo, because they are very young. When Pepe comes back from injury, I believe Fabio Cardozo will be left out and David Carmo will stay. And then in the goalkeeper is going to be Diogo Costa the whole year. Okay, so this is it from the Porto Legits and my advices on what packs to get. Yeah, see you in the next video. I'll try to do some videos of the games after and tell you which players performed better and what happened. I felt it was important to give you some feedback about the Porto players and the legits, so you can kind of have an idea of the value of these players. Okay, see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye bye.